also 2. And if you'd said, how's 8? We would have all signed.
Yep.
And he doubled that.
I wonder about that. Like, we talked a lot, and we even talked with Theo about his usage and the contract and what it means moving forward. Now, they obviously used him a lot in tight last year, much more than they had the previous year, at least that the results certainly tell you that, but I think he was on the field more in those situations. I think someone else was doing that prior to last season. And frankly, when the year began, I thought Ray Davis would be that guy. Like, his first and goal at the 4, here's Ray Davis. And it wasn't. It was Cook often enough. So it's not like there's maybe not that much room for them to increase that, but that's a way that they could feel like, if they feel they need to at all, if there's any pressure organizationally to validate the contract, let's keep him on the touchdown train. You know, at least he'll have that. If we're not using him more, let's make sure we're at least, you know, he looks like a guy who's in the end zone all the time, because he kind of is. So I wonder if that could mitigate the regression a little bit. But the thing is, I think they already used him a lot like that last year, so I don't know where the uptick would come from. But just saying, like, I think they'll probably at least keep doing that and keep feeding him there. Like, now that he's signed, it's not like they got to find out if Ray Davis can be their lead back. They have their lead back signed, so Ray Davis is, you know, where Ray Davis is.
Right. I mean, last year, at least as the season started, Davis was brand new. He was an NFL rookie, so they probably would have been reticent to turn to him in those crucial kind of carries, but it never happened, and they never needed to because Cook was so efficient last year, and plus Allen. That could be different going forward. I tend to think, and then I'll think it or I'll say it in this case, and then I'll shut it down. But how the organizational incentives marry with the coach's priorities. And I just mean, like, before Cook had his contract, I even said this a couple days ago, but not that seriously. Like, well, if they're not going to pay him, and they want leverage in the offseason, you know what they could do? What you just said.
Limit him. Put Davis in those situations. Right. Oh, you only had 5 touchdowns. You know, that's weak, buddy. Or you know, something likewise, you know, just to sort of cap his production if the team is so capable that they're able to sort of fool around like that. Again, it's sinister, and I'm not sure it would really be something that would happen. Right.
And, you know, now, what's the inverse of that? Play them. I mean, you've got years invested as well, but you also want to make it ideally look like the deal was worth it. And if you're taking them out, you know, more than last year for some reason, then people can ask those questions. But it really won't matter. You know, like this one is, there was a negotiation. The player had a big year. He thinks he's important. They think he's important. They figured out a compromise that pretty much makes sense. You know, like, it's good for both parties, I think, ultimately. It's one of those kind of deals. And then everything else about his usage, about goal line, touchdown, score, it's all just sort of like, it's all ancillary. It's all not important to the analysis anymore because he's here. Like, it's done.
Right.
And now you're just going to get what you're going to get. So that's it, I guess. Cook usage, or Cook's value, we've talked about it just constantly here. I wonder what Shakir's is. You know, thinking about, like, talking to Theo and thinking about fantasy gets me to, you just want there to be, sorry, Brandon Bean, you just want there to be somebody in that passing game that you can count on for real numbers, like whether that's touchdowns or 1,000 yards or what that is. I mean, Shakir led the way last year with 821 and 4, which is fine in fantasy if you start 3 receivers or 2 flexes or something like that. But, you know, if you don't have like a super deep starting lineup, you're never going to start this guy. Like, it's just, it's not that lucrative. And, you know, maybe you get that again. And I think probably the plan is to spread things out and not have they don't really have anybody that jumps out as being capable of dominating like that. They don't want it. It's by design, and I don't think they have it. Kincaid is somebody who, with Shakir out, if that even comes to fruition, like Shakir might not miss games himself. But
right, he's already out of the walking boot, so I don't know. That seems like a positive sign, certainly not a negative one. But that doesn't mean he's imminently returning or anything. But still, there seemed to be reasonable optimism that he'd be there for Week 1.
Kincaid was for me the guy who would be sort of next in line there to whether he's on the field more or just sort of like in the slot, in position to pick up some of the volume that Shakir would otherwise get. I mean, Kincaid, I've said many times, I think he's pretty much capped here because of Shakir. And now he wouldn't be. Shakir has the high ankle sprain, and then Sean McDermott says recently, before the Giants game even, that what he's been told is he'd expect Shakir to be ready for Week 1. Not even a high ankle sprain anymore is so debilitating. Mason Taylor of the Jets. That was a blow for me because that's somebody I've been drafting a lot. Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor, rookie tight end. High ankle sprain. Uh-oh. Rookie. Mm-hmm. It's already Justin Fields. It's already the Jets. Like, right. What is this? A month?
Right.
But he's already back. 1 week.
Well, I'm really curious to see how one of the days when you were away recently, I spent a lot of time talking about the behind Shakir, like assuming Shakir is their leading receiver again, and I just don't see anyone ready to. I'm not even sure I see anyone ready to do what I was suggesting, even, which was like 60 catches and like 6 to 10 touchdowns. Like if you had to bet on a guy to emerge that's going to get you those numbers on this team. Like, who's it going to be? Is it Palmer? Is it Coleman? Is it Kincaid? Is it Elijah Moore? Those might have been the 4 choices I offered. I don't think I offered Curtis Samuel. And my bet would be on Coleman. I just feel like a second year in and talk about, I mean, now Kincaid certainly fits the bill too from a organizational motivation to make it work, right? I mean, they're both pass catchers. They're their top asset in the drafts that they were drafted in were used on them. So both guys, but Coleman really doesn't have anybody his way. Like, receiver is really wide open beyond Shakir as far as someone emerging. And I feel like even without the injury, he might have gotten close to that kind of production last year. So I think if he stays on the field, I feel like that's out there for him. I spent some time talking to Sal about him, and Sal makes a point about he feels he's noticing him be more, what's the word he used? Intentional in his route running, which is more detailed, trying to create room, just using his feet more conscientiously. I just think there's an opportunity there. And like Coleman would be my bet for a guy to come through for this team beyond Shakir. Kincaid, like you say, is, the slot. There's Knox here. And I'm just worried about his legs. I don't know. I mean, anybody can get hurt, but I'm nervous about Kincaid moving forward a little bit.
I get it. What's on tap tonight for you? Concert? I'm
for a second year in a row one of the judges for the Borderland Battle of the Bands. I am doing that. That's at Buffalo Ironworks right after the show. There are, I believe, 4 bands that'll be performing, short sets by each, 3-4 songs, that kind of thing. And myself, our old buddy Andrew Peters, who's been gone from WGR for quite a long time, and Bentley, she used to be in the building. She's with, I think, at Public Radio now. She's also going to be one of the judges. So I'm looking forward to seeing a couple of my old radio pals, if you will, and checking out some bands I'm not familiar with.
I just threw that out there as a guess.
Concert? Oh, you said, really? Okay.
I didn't know you had a thing.
I tweeted, and so I thought maybe you saw it. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight. So.
Not watching baseball?
Not tonight.
Light night in baseball. The Blue Jays are playing now. 2-1 lead in the 8th. I got the Yankees last night. Did you notice that? I said to Sal, how come the Yankees never lose to the Twins? Guess what happened?
Yeah, you did it.
I did it. Thank me now.
I
was gonna say thank me later, but you can thank me now.
I saw Bellinger hit a home run early in that game. It was delayed for a couple of hours by rain,
Which I loved.
and it worked out for you. Yeah.
Yes. And the Mets.
Yeah, I was stuck watching. I was watching Guardians. Who the heck?
Marlins.
Marlins. Thank